we're good.
What are we doing?
I'm just gonna take a deep breath every time you're gonna say the intro just to see what would happen.
What is up, watch fan? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop.
My name is Michael, and I'm sponsored by Squarespace. Are you looking for a website or a domain? Well, then head over to squarespace.com/Theo Harris for 10% off your first order.
What are we talking about today, big man?
Today we're talking about the Rolex market, and right before we filmed this, you said your opinion,
disagreed.
I said mine, you said you're an idiot.
So we're talking about the Rolex market currently.
Yes.
One of us actually buys and sells in the Rolex market.
Yes.
And the other one watches the other one sell.
Yes. Okay. This is what I should
No,
say.
I think there's plenty that you're right about.
I should say I'm not thinking Rolex, which is my main issue.
You're not thinking Rolex?
No, I'm not in the Rolex headspace. No, I wasn't thinking specifically about Rolex.
But isn't this video entitled "The Truth About the Rolex Market"?
Hey, you're the guy that does all the uploads, so I don't know.
All right, so let's give a 1 year-ish, kind of like recap of what happened.
Yes.
Seen on last week's, on what's
Seen on last week with the same exact title.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, if you don't know, we are doing a lot of watch reviews lately, so if you like watch reviews and you're watching this channel, go back, go forward. There'll be a bunch of other ones up there. We also have a podcast, Theo and Harris, on Spotify,
Which
Apple
is
Music.
literally
everything.
a blast. It's very, very
Yes.
personal. We make a lot of funny jokes, talk about watches. We come for people. We go for people's necks.
Yes, we do. And people go for our necks.
People go for
Shout out to the other podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick before we get into the nitty-gritty of the Rolex prices, this video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Our friends over at Squarespace.
Yes.
If you are either a business owner or an artist that's looking, or really anyone that is looking to have an online presence, and if you're not looking to have an online presence, I highly suggest you at least consider it. I mean, unless you're in witness protection, I think that it's
Then don't.
Then don't. That would
Then
make no sense.
don't.
Unless
Right.
you're looking to sell your tell-all book, in which case, then
do.
But in most cases, folks really ought to have their own. Don't even think about it as a website, right? It is a website. It's a very, very nice website that's easy to build. Think of it more as a business card, like you said, a one-liner.
Yes.
A way to attract viewers or clients. If you're in art, don't just post on Instagram.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit rinky-dink. I think that it is the move to have an online presence that looks legitimate.
Do you say rinky-dink because I've said rinky-dink?
I say anything you say.
Wow.
I copy you all the time.
That's amazing. Just for an example, just yesterday we had a guy come up to us and was like, oh, I film, I do this, I'd love to work with you guys, I edit, I did this, I did this. He gave me his email, his telephone, his name, and my first question was, well, do you have a website? Do you have a reel? Like, what is this? He did.
He did.
He did.
And you're far more likely to hire him.
I didn't even reach out to him until I saw the website, and now far more likely. But I wasn't, if he didn't have a website, I would have brushed it off because I've been like, okay, now I got to call this guy, ask for his reel.
It's a big pain in the
Exactly.
Exactly.
That is what sold it.
And I can't tell you how many people, whether it's filmmakers or whatever, have reached out to us. Not to mention retail business owners, which is a necessity.
Oh, yeah.
Have reached out and said they've done it. And the reason why people have done it and been so happy with Squarespace, including myself, is because not only is it incredibly functional and beautiful. The Squarespace websites are beautiful
And constantly being updated. There's new themes.
They're so easy to build, and that was really the attraction for me.
It's drag and drop, right?
Exactly, it's drag and drop. Fantastic company. I couldn't recommend them more. Go ahead and make your own Squarespace account.
Yeah, so if you're interested, go to squarespace.com/Theo Harris to save 10% off your first order of a website or domain.
The Rolex market.
Yes.
So I'll rewind 10 years ago, and you could get a Rolex. Fast forward till kind of when the Daytona was happening, you really kind of couldn't get a Rolex. It kind of got very difficult.
At retail.
You couldn't walk into a store and buy a Rolex. Fast forward, and there was a small premium on these watches. A Daytona that was $13,000 retail was selling for $18,000, $16,000 area. No one ever thought it would get to 20. They went up to 45. Crazy, even maybe over that.
People were freaking out, and this is the a rising tide raises all ships essentially happening right now.
A bunch of other brands continued to go up. It was even Gerard Perregaux was selling at a tremendous premium, which is hysterical.
Yeah.
Shout out to a couple people that were pumping Gerard Perregaux. And then the bubble burst. Right, the watches, these Daytonas that were $45,000 and kind of hard to get. I mean, not hard to get, but still like. You weren't negotiating down to 43.
Right.
Then started slipping. 41, 38, 35. And I've seen Daytonas as low as 26
That's wild.
in the last month.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But in the last month, last couple of weeks specifically, I've started to see stabilization.
Okay, sure.
Which is what I always said was going to happen, which is not genius by any means. Of course, stabilization eventually happens. It was a question of what is the bottom? That was the interesting question. And for me, the bottom was still significantly above retail.
Sure.
Right? The Daytonas will never be a $13,000 watch again.
You've said many a times you'll never be able to get a Rolex at retail.
Right.
As in on the second-hand market.
Right. You used to buy a secondhand Rolex and it was cheaper, and it will always go for more. Exactly. Yep. So I've said that I thought the true value of a Daytona was around $25,000, depending on condition, which means you can get a $22,000 model or a $26,000 model, meaning a new, ceramic Daytona.
Yeah.
And that's really what we've seen now. We've seen the super rare olive dial rose gold president.
Yep.
That retails around 44 with tax, go up to 95. I saw one offered last week at 55. But I don't really see them going down much further. I could see a slide to 51.
Interesting.
52. It's always a range on condition. But fun fact, what I'll tell you is there's no range on and it's complete bullshit.
What?
Date. Meaning, when was it sold?
Oh, between 2020, 2021, 2022.
March, April, May.
Oh my God.
Whoever bought into this shit is moronic.
You go on a lot of listings now and it's like Rolex Day 2022, brand new, 2022. And it's like, it's the same model
September.
Yeah, right.
What? Who cares?
What happened?
I think I think we've stabilized. I think that a lot of the folks that were in this market because it was hot and just because they were kind of passing it, crypto, whatever.
This is a good, right, grab and go.
Right, everyone's making a lot of money. Maybe I just sold my car for $30,000 more than I thought it was going to be. Maybe I bought a watch. It's play money. COVID really, for a lot of people, created play money. It was play money, you know, for a million reasons.
I was getting calls from my Camry of just insane values being like, we'll take it right now. I'm like, well, the bumper's messed up.
It's a Camry,
They're
right?
Like, it doesn't matter.
No, it's great.
If we need it.
It has four wheels.
Yeah.
So that is what's happened. So the question is, what does that mean for you? Right.
I have a question before you even get there. Why do you think stabilization is happening? Why do you believe we're stabilized?
Well, because I think that we, meaning the market, has weeded out all of those folks that were just there for play money.
Got it.
Now what you've got left is folks that just like the watch at this price.
So
they're not dumping.
Got it.
I think that what by and large we've been able to shed off is a lot of the dealers that thought that they could hold and actually hold this market at 35, 45.
Got it.
So now we're kind of left with a bunch of dealers that know that this is where they are going to be. They're not going to dump. They're not going to flood the market at 21 because they know that this is kind of it.
Interesting.
The rest of it was bullshit. We're kind of where we are.
Okay, yeah. Okay, go back to your point, and then I have two more questions for you.
Well, my point was, so what does that mean for you as the buyer?
Yeah.
And I think that we're back to old school watch buying. Well, not old school, but in many ways old school watch buying, which is okay. The watch is $25,000. It's stable. You're not going to take a hit. You're also not going to make money. So it's a true $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you actually like it at $25,000?
Right.
You're not afraid to buy it because it's going to drop. You're not enticed to buy it because it's going to rise. Do you like it at the number you're paying?
Do you like the Daytona at 25?
I don't like the Daytona at 12.
I know the answer.
You don't
like the Daytona below retail.
Yeah, but I'm just not a steel sports watch guy, so I wouldn't buy that watch at $12,000.
At 25,
I'd probably buy. This sounds like silly, but I'd probably buy a Daytona at. I mean this.
Yeah.
$7,000.
Oh yeah, so
$6,000.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, I might say, yeah, okay, I'll take the watch.
I don't think
it's just not for me.
I can't speak for if I have a vast amount of money, but I just getting something over retail, unless it's, I can't even accurately say unless it's, but getting something over retail, I'm just like, okay, well, it's not that much.
Right.
You're selling it for $14,000 retail. It's not a $25,000 watch.
Right.
And I'm just going to start to expect $25,000 things.
Right. And the question goes, well, what is a $25,000 watch? What is $1 million home in Summit, New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
You start to think, what does that even mean?
Right.
Because before, people were kind of just spending and spending and spending. They weren't thinking about what it is,
Yeah. Well, because if you got a Daytona at 25, it wasn't a 25, it was a 30. It was
exactly.
30. So you're like, well, this is great.
Exactly.
But now it's like, it's not. I'm just paying.
It's just $25,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's totally changed the buyer's mindset, and it's changed it to a far more stable mindset.
Yeah.
Because the people that are getting into it, they're not gonna they're not looking to sell it for 30. They're not going to dump it at 22.
Yeah.
I
wanted the watch.
They wanted the watch. They liked it at 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the way I look at it is, okay, well, what do I think a $25,000 watch is? What am I looking for out of a watch at 25 grand? How good does it need to be? That's the question, right? Yeah. So what do I come to expect? Well, you have to look at the comps, right?
Yeah.
What are Daytona comps? I know you've got some good Speedmasters.
We're looking for now
You've got
sporty
watches that are just as good.
Chronograph watches that are just as good.
So you've got,
you go precious metal Omegas, Speedmasters.
Well, that's not even there yet. Don't even go there yet.
Oh.
Independent of price. What are other comp watches?
Independent of price.
What are other comp watches? So meaning in-house well-built chronographs by major brands.
I'm wearing one right now.
Zenith Primera, El Primero.
Zenith Shadow El Primero.
Yep.
$9,000 retail.
Yep. And you can get them for $6,000.
You get them for below $6,000.
Which
will be my point at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Speedmasters, retail in the $6,000s, get them in the $5,000s.
Yep.
Okay. Bulgari Octofinissimo.
Yep.
Stainless steel. Well, those are actually titanium, but non-precious metal. Sports watches.
Yep.
Chopard Alpine Eagle. Again, they're not direct comps because they are time only.
Sure.
But it gives you an understanding of what you should be paying for something.
Yes.
So the Daytona doesn't deliver that much value.
Correct.
It really actually delivers pretty poor value at $25,000.
At $25,000, I would say incredibly poor. But even when you start to look at that at retail, I think it's really interesting because when you look at the Daytona for $14,000, I think it comes close to being a $14,000 watch. Would you agree?
I think it does. I think it's basically dead on accurate. I don't like it at 14,000 because I just but you're right. It's very good at 14,000.
Yeah, you're like the bracelet's great, the case is great, the screw down crown, the shape, the thickness, the in-house movement, the dial.
You can't throw out the fact that it's Rolex. I think the Rolex name alone can really, with confidence, demand $3,000. With absolute three, $3,000. That's not fair to say, because it's relative. Right, exactly. But I think it could demand. I think it could demand a minimum of 20%.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Because I could see that, and it's one of those things where if I walked into a store and I wanted to buy a Rolex, I'd be well, it's a Rolex.
It is a Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
Exactly.
If it's for build quality, a lot of people say it's not perfect polishing. It's not. It's also not at that cost.
Right.
But for build quality, for name, for reputation, for experience, you're like, okay, Rolex.
Exactly. So far as comps, it's not worth it. I think it's well priced at $14,000.
Yes.
I think it is justifiable to spend $16,000 or $18,000, but I think the equilibrium, really, the stable market is at around $25,000.
16 or 18.
Because people have a lot of money. People don't care. They're like, yeah, I'm overpaying for it, but I really, really like it. My dad had a Daytona.
Yeah.
It's the watch to have. It's cool. I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to lose money, but I like it at 25.
Yep.
I'm going to park 25 there.
I think that's totally right.
I get it.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll ask you this question, then we'll go into a different sector. But so we look at what?
For the podcast, remind me to say, do you have any more questions? On the podcast, we'll talk about that. I have funny date stories with that.
I know some of them. Okay, so that's Rolex.
Yes.
I saw an Instagram post that was basically showing a Patek also going down in value. So other, not smaller brands, or I guess I should say not less notorious brands, but Patek, Rolex, AP, what is that general market doing? Same thing?
Oh no! No, I don't know. I don't think that's completely stabilized yet.
That will tie into what I'm saying then.
A watch that I love, which is the Royal Oak chronograph. Oh, I love that watch.
Yes, of course.
And so the new one, which is the gray dial, retails like $36,000 around there. Was selling around $70,000. I think they're in like the $50s now. Okay, that's dropped.
Yep.
I think more interestingly, because it doesn't have the brand new release hot factor, is the Kasparov. Do you know what that is?
No.
So the Kasparov is the predecessor to that watch. Whoa. So that is the Royal Oak chronograph. That's in really good condition. It's a little bit thicker. It was a modular movement. It wasn't integrated. It wasn't in-house, but it's a great watch. It's a really great watch.
Right.
This watch, in the last year, has risen into the 50s. 55, it went down to 51.
Okay.
I believe it there because those watches have some historical importance. right? They're kind of OG AP Royal Oaks. They're really well executed.
Tropical one is
Unbelievable.
crazy.
Great watches.
Yeah.
I actually saw one when I was in Italy on the wrist of a man eating mussels. It was very cool. I was like, you're the coolest guy in the world. In a white linen shirt.
Wow.
I saw one. I was offered one yesterday. A little polished, but not a horrible watch. A good watch.
Okay, sure.
At $35,000 or best offer.
Or best offer.
So that's a $33,000 watch right now.
Wow.
And that's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So those big players you think have not stabilized?
Though I don't know where the bottom is. I'd say the bottom is still in the 30s, maybe 31, or for a really good example, 36.
Yeah.
But I thought it was stable in the 50s, low 50s. It wasn't. I could even said 48, and 47.
Is this your canary for off-brand, away from Rolex, but still adjacent?
Yeah, away from Rolex, and for every reason that watch should be collectible. You know what I mean? Like, It's not some fly-by-night watch. I think it's actually a good indicator of the market. It's not Rolex. Don't forget, like, AP may be hot, and AP is very hot.
But nobody's
AP will
Rolex.
never be Rolex.
Yes, no one will be. That's the thing.
No one will be.
Yeah.
So seeing that,
high-fived, yeah.
so seeing that really interested me. And keep in mind, guys,
Wow,
honestly, I own the Theo and Harris, vintage watch shop, and we sell a bunch of watches.
Yeah.
But I don't even buy and sell this stuff usually. I mean, the highest I'll go up to is like a sports Submariner that is, below 15. I'm sorry, sports Rolex, which is like below $15,000, generally speaking.
Of course.
Some quirky shit below 20.
Yeah.
But I watch this stuff because it just interests me. Like, and I really want a chronograph. Like, I really want a Royal Oak chronograph.
Yeah.
So for me, the only flaw with that watch is I hate that the date is white. But you could just have that painted. So I don't think that I think the Rolex market has basically stabilized.
Okay.
I think that moving forward, we're going to see the same pops when it comes into the new releases. Mm-hmm. I just don't think people are going to be paying it. Because now, the emperor has no clothes, right? Or whatever that's called. Like, like people know that this is not going to continue going.
Right.
So they'll pay premiums. Like, they will pay premiums when a watch comes out.
But not 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and rising.
Nope. I mean, unless it's such an anomaly of a watch, then okay, fine. There are legs there.
There's still,
but a
there's still that,
a new color, a Daytona, a Skydor, a new color. They will be premiums, but they won't be large.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is, I think, is good and it's healthy.
Oh yeah.
For everyone out there that wants to buy a fucking watch and wants to own it.
Well, because it gets annoying because you bring in a new breed of people in the watch world, which we saw, which is like, okay, the Daytona's going up. I'll buy 30 of them. Okay, the point that I was going to bring up, which is, it's a pretty small thing, but I have noticed fear from basically just people offering me
private
watches.
Owners.
Like if I mention like I like this watch or something like that, I'll get a DM or something. And that's where I've seen the fear.
Yes.
This watch, the IWC I just got,
far
below anything that I can see online for them.
Because what happens a lot of times is when how does a regular guy sell a watch? It's very difficult to sell it online on their own, like through Chrono, because all the fees and all that shit.
Yeah, of course.
And then you offer to a dealer, and a dealer wants to gut you.
Oh yeah.
Most dealers, I don't gut the clients. I don't know. I just don't do it.
Yeah.
But a lot of dealers will, let's say a watch that you were hoping to get 6 for, the real value's around 5.
Sure.
Meaning to sell.
Of course.
A dealer will be like, I'll give you $3,100.
Yeah.
And the dealer's not going to get 5. The dealer's going to get 54, 55.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, I mean, God bless everyone, whatever. But to me, that is too aggressive. If I ever give someone a really low offer, what I'll literally tell them is, this is not a watch that I'm going to be able to sell easily.
Yeah,
I would need to buy this at a stupid price. Please get comps elsewhere. Yeah. What's your price?
This low.
And I'll say the price, and I'll say, please go elsewhere.
Yeah, right.
And that's.
But that's the what I'm noticing right now, because you look at Rolex in the larger scope, but when I have independent people coming up to me being like, now, can you pay today? Can you get it to me today? It's like, okay, you're scared. You're scared.
Exactly.
I'm not scared of anything except the dark.
I ain't scared of the ghost. I ain't scared of no ghosts.
Me neither.
All right.
Although I would be.
Yeah.
When you?
Well, that's it. Michael, thank you for the conversation. Squarespace, thank you for sponsoring today's video. We love you guys, and thank you all for watching. Go watch our review of the Cartier Tortue Mono Pusher.
Yes.
And what else? What else have we reviewed?
Yeah, dude, what haven't we reviewed?
The new Tudor Ranger we reviewed.
You can look at the new Tudor Ranger. You can look at a Daytona, actually. We just reviewed a Platinum Daytona.
Daytona, that's right. Ton of stuff. Go watch those videos now.